Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. And today I'm looking at a book which has come to us from Edward Elgar Publishing Limited. That's an independent book publishers specialising in high quality legal texts. This book is called Forensic Science Evidence and Expert Witness Testimony, with a subtitle Reliability Through Reforms, and it's been edited by Paul Roberts and Michael Stockdale. The book's available as a book and as an ebook, and in fact the websites and the links are all very clearly available on the e-elgar.com website. I've given it a title for our review of Experts Will Find This New Book from Edward Elgar a most useful addition for their forensic work. Now that may seem a really very simple statement, but it is actually very important. I am involved with the Expert Witness Institute, and I'll mention them in a few minutes. But this particular book I think is very important from their point of view as much as anyone else's. Here it is, there's the front of it, there's the spine, and then on the back you can't really see much, it's a hardback. It runs to something approaching 400 odd pages. The index is at the back, and you can see how easy it is. It's by page number. It's quite a lot of information actually in the index itself. Then you've got footnoting, of course, at the bottom of the pages. There's no paragraph numbering as such, but if we go to the front of the book, there is the first page there, the front page, and then after that you've got the blurb from Elgar, then the contents section, and you can see each of the contributors is listed with their names, and then in total you've got 13 chapters in the index. List of the actual contributors. I can't mention them all by name, but a big thank you to all of them for what they've done and producing some very useful commentary. They're the table of cases. Then you've got some legislation after that by country, and then after that you've got an introduction. The introduction is always worth reading. There's no preface with this particular publication, but do have a look at it. It starts with the word Genesis. Always a bit of a difficult word sometimes, but it explains how the book came about, and I'll explain a bit more about that in a few minutes. There is the middle of the book, and you can see again not extensive footnoting, but useful. I think it's done about right because some books do tend to go a bit over the top with the footnoting. So what do we say about the book? Well, we say this. The editors, Paul Roberts and Michael Stockdale, rightly proclaim in their new book that, quote, forensic science evidence plays a pivotal role in modern criminal proceedings. And it certainly does. Obviously, we do use experts in a wide range of jurisdictions, but criminal proceedings are by far and away the most important because they have sanctions attached to them, such as custody, of course, and fines and so forth. So it's absolutely true for much litigation today to make that statement. However, the writers go on to comment that such evidence poses intense practical and theoretical challenges because it can be unreliable or misleading and has been associated with miscarriages of justice, and we've read about them in the newspapers, which is why we have to get it right. So in our view, for these reasons alone, our legal specialists, those are the people we rely on, who offer expert witness evidence in court, we think will find this new title from Edward Elgar, which is called Forensic Science Evidence and Expert Witness Testimony, a most useful addition to their library for the insights that are gained. It's both a thoughtful and an original book in our view for practitioners, both for lawyers of course and for experts who are instructed by them. When I say lawyers, I mean both solicitors, of course, and counsel. Roberts and Stockdale bring together a global team of 18 prominent scholars and practitioners who offer sage advice for experts. Now, do start reading the book at the beginning with the introduction from the editors. They explain that the book's genesis, that's the title I mentioned, arose, quote, from a long-standing collaboration between scholars associated with the Northumbria Centre for Evidence and Criminal Justice Studies, that's the NCECIS, which is part of the Northumbria Law School, and they are an established school in the northeast of England. The purpose of the work is to explore the contemporary challenges of forensic science, evidence and expert witness testimony today. And the detail comes from a variety of theoretical, practical and jurisdictional perspectives, which we think will be of great interest to members of the Expert Witness Institute. That's the EWI, which is the body that looks after experts. And it's one of there are a number of bodies, but it's the most important because it does actually have effectively a system whereby accreditation can be achieved and it's recognised in the courts. And I think that's an important factor to bear in mind. And the subtitle of this work, of course, is called Reliability Through Reform. And of course, we are always reforming at the moment and within the legal world. And of course, the book therefore arrives as it does during a period of change for expert witnesses after the civil procedure rule reforms. And we're still looking at the effect of that even now, some years ahead. Of course, the book encompasses the institutional organisation of forensic science, its procedural regulation, evaluation and reforms, and it brims with what is called comparative insight, which we feel will be very helpful to those new to the expert testimony, either offering it or using it as practitioners. So the book, I think, will be useful for the younger bar as well. The e-version is priced at £22 or $31, and it's available from a number of places, Google Play and the ebooks websites, and of course other ebook vendors, including those online, which you can obviously Google or use Safari for. And obviously the print version of the book can be ordered by the ELGAR website, and this is the print version here. Let me conclude by saying this: the book makes sense of forensic science evidence for a wide range of readers, although there is one final point I think is worth mentioning. The editors state that even though detailed policy prescriptions will not be offered, excuse me, the significance of evidential reliability and its contingent relationship with institutional practices are constantly and diversely reiterated, and that's through the 13 chapters themselves and the main introduction at the beginning. So it's clearly required reading for anyone involved in the production of expert evidence today at any basic stage of the litigation process. And of course, generally speaking, they are brought in at the interlocutory stage right at the beginning. Now, the book was published on the 15th of August 2018, and as I've indicated, is available as a hardback and as an ebook. Let's just have one last look at it. As I say, the hardback, there we go there. That's the front, then there's the spine, then there's the back. And just opening it up, it's a bit different. There's some quotes, by the way, from people who've already reviewed the book, making some very important points, which I've incorporated in the review. It's just opening it up. Regulating forensic science. There we go. That's the middle of the book. Quality assurance and risk factors. That's actually part of what the EWI are looking at the moment, because there isn't that much regulation. And I suspect, knowing the way things are, there's going to be more regulation in the future, which is why this book, I think, is so useful. Anyway, a big thank you to Paul Robertson, Michael Stockdale, and of course to ELGAR for continuing to give us such a wonderful and really high quality service with these legal books that they publish. Thank you to all. Bye-bye.